Hey everybody, I'm Justin Bohn.
I'm Mike Val.
And this is the Bohn and Zano Zone, where we are always on the lanes, off the charts, and on the mic. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bohn and Zano Zone podcast presented by BuddiesProShop.com. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Good, pal. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
So another sad day in the bowling world. We lost another center today.
Yeah.
Van Nest Lanes in New York, I believe, is in the Bronx. He is unfortunately shutting its doors.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few centers that are shutting their doors, and it's not fun to be watching.
Support the local centers. That's all we can say. Get out there, bowl a game, support them while you can. And that was a pretty cool place. I don't know if you were ever there, Justin.
No, I wasn't. No.
Above ground ball returns, no automatic scoring. Old beat up wood lanes, and our one guest tonight actually bowled action in that building.
Yeah,
and I was supposed to go watch it. This was years ago, and I never did. But sad to say the least.
Yeah. But, so I got two things that I want to plug before we get started.
Absolutely.
Once again, the vlog again at Morrisville Lanes Junior Sweeps Tournament. Brandon bowling Alex in match play. That was a really, really fun match to watch. If you want to go check it out, be sure to go check out my YouTube channel, Justin Bohn. Again, another good video, and bowling content is going to continue. Next week is the Teen Masters tournament, and I plan on vlogging every single day that we're there.
Yeah, we will not be live next week. We're taking a little bit of a break.
We're taking a week off.
We're taking a week off, and then when we come back, the first show that we're doing when we come back, and this was Mike Alby's idea, actually.
Yeah.
Mike Alby had suggested we have story time with the 80s, he called it. So we are going to have Mike Alby back.
Yep.
We are going to be joined with our dear friend Charlie Tapp. Charlie Tapp loves us.
Yep.
Joe Hutchinson.
Okay.
Larry Lickstein.
Oh, my.
And Lenny Nicholson. So we're going to have 5. Yeah. We're going to have 5 guys. I'm sure Parker may make an appearance. And we'll have some other cameos. And I think what we're going to do is just introduce them all and just let them talk.
Oh, yeah. I might even just, go take a nap somewhere because they'll run the show. Yeah,
this is going to go on for a couple hours. But let's get it going tonight. Which one do you want to introduce? What?
I got one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I
apologize.
The big announcement yesterday. I had previously announced a save the date, but now I am officially announcing the 21st annual Parker Bohn III Junior Scholarship Tournament will run, and I cannot say Labor Day weekend because, Mike, Get ready for this.
I'm ready.
6 days.
6 days.
6.
So it's like a major, basically. It's like bowling the U.S. Open.
This event is, obviously there's so many things going on in the world that will make this event unique. But we're talking 6 days, Mike.
Will I be there for the 6 days to help you?
Well, I sure hope so.
So I'll be in the booth for 6 days this year.
I hope so. So
I will be there.
Qualifying squads are going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. The famous eliminator and doubles event will run on Friday all day, and the finals will be on Monday. So if you are interested in that or have a junior bowler who wants to sign up, please be sure to check out our Facebook page, Parker Bohn Scholarship Tournament, and you'll receive all of the updates there.
Sounds good.
Mike?
Which one do you want to bring in first, Justin?
This is all you. I think
East Coast or West Coast? Which one do you want to bring in?
Go with the East Coast because we're on the East Coast.
So a former touring pro, I'm going to say former, right?
Yeah.
I believe he is a 2-time titleist on the tour, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 2-time titleist. He is quite the golfer too, from what I understand and from what I see. I guess there's more money in golf than bowling. That's why he golfs a little more. He is in the pro shop business now. Let's bring him in. And I actually crossed with this guy at the U.S. Open probably 10 years ago. He led the field the year I bowled with him, Mike Machuga. Mr. Machuga. And Justin, glad he's not driving anymore. He was driving earlier, and now he is safe in the shop. So we welcome Mr. Machuga.
His mic is muted. We can't hear him.
Yeah, so we cannot hear him. And he has left us. All right, so he left us. But let's bring in the next guest. So
as our other guest is laughing hysterically.
Yeah, so now Justin, this picture I'm going to show to the camera, I had this on my wall as a kid because all I wanted to do was hit it like this guy did. Can we see that picture? The cover of Bowler's Journal?
Oh, yeah.
That was at the Japan Cup. I won the Japan Cup. I wanted to throw it like this guy growing up. A 7-time titleist, a former U.S. Open champion, the one, the only, Maximum Bob, Robert Smith. And there he is.
Thunder Chooks.
And Dr. Machuga scrubbing in for surgery.
Oh, you must have people over there hanging out.
Can we hear him or no? Can we hear him?
Yeah.
I think
I'm here.
Are we here? We're good?
Yeah, we're good, Mike.
I meant to reach down and touch the mic button, and I hit the leave button instead.
It happens. Some people don't want to sit with us. Some people don't want to talk to us. So you just add it to the list of people that don't want to be bothered with us.
And I just got to the pro shop, so I saw that the door had opened. I didn't see who it was, and had my mask on just because. But everybody left me, so now I'm in here by myself.
So let's, before we get started, I guess. So, what's going on with the quarantine in your respective areas? We got one in PA, one in California. How is it in your respective parts of the country?
Here, I got shops in 2 counties. In Erie County, my home, there's no bowling in the summertime anyway. So our bowling center doesn't open up there regardless if it's summertime. So COVID really hasn't affected us much here. But at the other center, they like to be open a couple days a week. So Thursday nights, I come down and spend some time to help with anybody that might need me. So, but down here, you're no masks if you're bowling, no masks if you're sitting and eating or drinking. But if you're up and about in the building, you have to be wearing a mask.
Huh.
Okay.
You got a little more options than I do. I'm just sitting there stuck waiting for the state to open again. So I think we've got one county, and it's up in Lassen County, if you know where that is. And that's the extreme northeastern part that me and Machuga decided we were going to drive through a blizzard on one time. You remember that? Yeah. There's nobody living there. Of course, they don't have to worry about quarantining anybody.
So you drove through a blizzard in Northern California?
Yeah, across Mount Shasta from Reno to Medford. We thought we were going to get up north because the storm blew through, and you can't drive through the mountains when a storm's going through. That's bad.
But if we hadn't left when we did, we'd have been in Reno for 2 more days.
True, and we would have ended up being SOL on trying to bowl. So
yeah,
needless to say, it looked like a bobsled ramp at one point going through there.
It was pretty much Bobby could have gone as fast as he wanted because it was just grooved. He just kept.
Oh yeah, I would just taken that for about 30 seconds. I mean, we just
the highway was walled.
Highway 89.
What was that?
California Route 89. It goes across Shasta. It actually comes out of Susanville, Reno, on the 395 up there. If you're familiar with Reno, and yeah, we went that route because I-80 was closed still, And we had heard that route was open, so we took it and we left. And we thought we were smart leaving early. And no, not really. Rental car, no chains. I mean, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Tell me, like it would have been great with like a sports car too. That would have been made 10 times
What
better.
was it, a Mazda 3 or something like that? It was, I mean, it wasn't very big either.
Robert pulled off like one of those emergency areas.
Yeah.
And it kind of slowed away from the road, and I said, "Oh my God, Robert, no, Robert, go back up." And then, sure enough, we're stuck. And I hop out of this car. And I don't think we had 5 more minutes, and there was no chance of us getting out of this little area.
Oh God, I'm sitting there. This is literally like time number 2 driving in snow, and the last time I did it, I kept going through intersections on through Albany during a blizzard again. Oh yeah, this was stupid. We never get out. So the whole time out to trying to get to the I-5 before it stopped snowing again, Chuga's hanging out in the dashboard like this far up on it. Like go left, go left, go right, go right, go left. I mean, just yeah. And I'd say I missed that, but I miss it.
We like the stories. We want to hear some good stuff tonight. So, Mr. Bohn, you have the list. Why don't you kick it off and let's get it started? Because these two have a lot to say, and I want to hear what these guys have to say tonight.
All right. So both of you guys had obviously great careers on tour. They were a little bit shorter than what the bowling world would have wanted to see. And now that you're both in the bowling business as different roles as non-players, before we get into it tonight, what are you guys doing for yourselves now? Rob, if you want to start.
I've got my pro shop out here at Boyne Lanes in Ventura, California. Still enjoying in the game. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where it was unfortunate my hip and back just wouldn't hold up to let me bowl. But so worked there for a little bit, doing that, and then found out that two-handed bowling's easier on my body than one-handed, so I've been doing two-handed.
Oh, there we go.
I know he hates it, but it was that or I don't bowl no more, hands down. Because I mean, I couldn't get through a league night without absolutely just destroying me. Backing off didn't help. Tried a lot of different things, but for some reason, this two-handed thing is pain-free. So on the meantime of that, it is a pain in the butt to bowl two-handed, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So if I could make a 10 pin, I'd average about 220, but right now I average 202 because I cannot make a 10 pin. It's pretty bad.
Did you try bowling left-handed?
Yeah, I have. And Machuga's seen me bowl left-handed a couple times, and I wail on it just as hard right-handed. I throw it a third of the speed, and I have no idea where it's going. So, no, that was
accurate. That's accurate. I actually did 2 years ago. I finished the season left-handed due to some wrist issues, and it was kind of fun because it allowed me to kind of experience what it's like to go through a new fit, getting the proper fit, and then me being focused on being fundamentally sound all the time. I was trying to perfect my swing and timing, and I think I managed to get to like 175 and bowl a couple 200 games, but boy, was it frustrating.
That's respectable, though.
It's not bad.
No, that's a respectable number left-handed.
Yeah, better than my 161 one summer.
So, now, Chugs, would you ever try throwing it with two hands?
I mean, as a joke, I have a few times. And even, after tipping a few with the boys and screwing around 8 or 10 shots, I get out of bed in the morning and I can't stand up. I end up walking like an old man because my left hip and back hurts so bad. I can't do it.
That's so crazy. That's the exact opposite for me. That is the exact opposite.
I have less revs and I throw it slower, so it doesn't make any difference.
I didn't lose much, tell you the truth. I've lost some, but not much. But it's just a work in progress. The timing is totally different than one-handed.
How long have you been doing it two-handed now?
See here, I had to withdraw from the Masters again at the last time I was at Gold Coast. So that was March of last year. And I started it the month after. So
like 18 months probably?
About 18 months or so. and
right.
take the time off that we're having. So I've probably got about maybe a calendar year tops.
So you're basically starting over when you come out of quarantine.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to make it feel like one-handed, and it's like you can't do that. It's a totally different game. So it's been a work in progress, but it's there's moments where it's like and then all of a sudden something clicks and something clicks, and it kind of reminds me of Bohn when I was 13, 14 learning stuff. It was just the same thing. Couldn't figure it out, and then all of a sudden something clicked, and it just feels the same way. That's why I'm having fun with it. So it's different.
My partner up there, he does it. He has it in his bag where he can switch it from one to two-handed like nobody's business.
It's called talent.
Well,
Yeah, I've been playing with it for about 2.5 years now. I've been trying to go back and forth, and I finally got everything set up the right way where I lost all the weight holes so I didn't have any extra holes, and then lost the it so I could have molds to where I had no issues and I could throw the same arsenal. And now with the weight holes going in, or no more weight holes going into effect next week, I'm either going to have to learn how to put my thumb in it two-handed or carry around a separate arsenal.
I mean, if you can do it, I mean, it's an option, especially if it makes enough variance in it. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how you've got to look at equipment. And I can see Chuga wanting to jump in on it. Say something. Do it.
It's not that hard, dude. No, there's nothing in the rules that says how far your thumb has to go in there.
Very true.
Just hook it up to where it kind of sits over here and put the little tip of it in there, and there you go. You bend the rule again like every other two-hander out there.
What you want. I mean, as long as your thumb somewhat goes in it, show them a blister or something. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's within the rules. It's just,
If you're gonna cheat with the left arm on there, you may as well cheat as much as possible.
if you're not trying, you're not cheating, right? If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
What rules?
So, Justin, this one is right for Chuga.
Okay.
And I look forward to the Machuga rants on Facebook. They're hysterical. His rant, I don't know if you ever see him, Justin. They're classic. They're epic. So,
oh yeah, he's been fined from some of them.
They're getting more politically correct though, so they're not as fun to write.
yeah, he goes to like Facebook jail, basically. But you've been vocal for a while with your stance on the two-handers and equipment and the pins and patterns. What do you think the biggest detriment to the game has been in the past, 20 years? What is it, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, it's
well, don't worry, Rob. You're going to answer this one next.
Oh, mine's real simple.
The field is getting scrunched back together because everybody is given a chance to earn these high scores. So the players, and I'm not talking about the PBA best in the world players, but I'm talking about the people that used to be 210, 220 in their local good leagues, and they were significantly stand out better than the rest of the field. Now they can get beat by a lot of different people who aren't as good a bowler as they are or were. And that's a number of things. That's equipment, that's pins. The bottom line is it's gotten a whole lot easier for this section of the field to achieve the things that only the best in the world, the best of the area could do. So over the course of, let's say, 35 years, I would probably put at, a lot of mediocre bowlers have gotten very good. And I say that reluctantly in quotes because good is now what? A 230 average bowler in the league? But take them out, against the best in the world, and they come out and they average 170 at the U.S. Open. So for lack of better words, that contest, now is really a grab a ball, learn how to spin it, throw it hard, and then figure out what ball gives you the most amount of runs. And it used to be a lot more dependent on building fundamentals so that you could repeat shots, be more consistent. And then you slightly manipulate that to get your angles into the pocket to knock them all over. So what happened? Well, the scoring pace got out of control, which is a result of a lot of things. But that also gave a false sense of security to people who weren't very good bowlers and now are achieving a lot of high scores.
it's kind of like it's not a shot maker's game anymore.
Exactly. It's now a game of figure out what ball is going to give you the biggest margin for error, the best carry percentage, and if you can do it, throw that thing as hard with as many RPMs as you can get.
And Justin, who's recently just said it's not a shot maker's game anymore?
Pete just said it on Tuesday. We asked him about if it was harder to bowl juniors back then when he was a junior or now, and he said it's a little bit on the easier side now because it's basically what you just said. Throw it hard, hook it a lot, and hope for the best.
I could show you some lead sheets from my Greater LA Junior All-Star days back in the late 80s, early 90s. And I was high average in the league at 202. And this is the best in Southern California. And this is also the leagues that Randy Peterson, George Branham, Forkel, all came out of this same junior program. I mean, it wasn't no slouch. And I mean, one year I was high average. I was the only guy over deuce on the average list, and that was 203. I mean, we were bowling Sunday mornings. I'd walk in with two balls. It was a black knight and a pearl blue hammer. And those were the only two balls I owned. And you walked in and you played. And I mean, you couldn't jump around or manipulate. If you could manipulate the bowling ball back then, you were something special because you didn't have to grab another bowling ball at the time. You could just manipulate it and be how it was. Cheers, you bowled juniors, right?
Yep. My first two big, performance balls were a black hammer and a blue nail.
Oh, I destroyed a black knight. That ball, and then if I needed something extra to hook a little more, it was like, okay, I had something. But give you an idea, I had 6 300s and 5 800s in my junior career. And I believe the 800s were a record for a minute at 5. Huh. And I don't even know what the record would be now, but I'm assuming it's got to be close to 30, 40, maybe even more.
I know
it's a different.
I don't know about the 800 one for juniors, but I know the 300 one is somewhere for your whole youth career. Spencer Robards is continuing to break it. He's at like 33, 34.
That's crazy. And that's under 18, right?
How old is he, Justin?
Sanctioned. He's my age. He's 17.
Man, I got 24 in the PBA tour. I don't want to hear it.
I think I got 27, maybe. I bet you.
Are you playing the forward tees now?
Huh?
Are you playing the forward tees now? Are you like the gold tees, or which ones are you up to?
Oh, I try. I play the blues at least. I can take the same from the whites to the blues. It don't matter. The T-box scares me. It goes, but
I was picking on your age, Robert.
Thank you.
Justin, go with the next one. The next one should be an interesting one.
So, of course, Mike gave me this one because it's going to be my least favorite day of the year. Wait Hole Day is coming up August 1st. So, what do you got, like, your opinion on it overall as a whole? Is it a good thing or a bad thing, do you think, for the sport?
I don't think it's anything. Well, it's just a pain in the ass because I got to plug these things. Look, I got another stack right here building right now.
Jeez.
It's just dumb. It serves zero purpose.
And so do the weight holes. I mean, the whole thing is weird.
I mean, you take the 3-unit rule away, and then you say no weight holes. Well, why? You've already said that you can wall the lanes up as much as you can. Why can't we just do whatever we want with the bowling ball? Put as many holes in as you want. You want to hold with 2 hands? Throw a granny style? Who cares? Try to make them as easy as possible. Why bother with the rules? If we're going to make rules, why don't we do it like skill bowling, where you really, really actually have a strict set of rules? And that's what you do at the highest level. And in this recreational game that we've got going on in league play now, let that be the USBC sanctioned league, but there's no rules. Just do whatever you want. Let these weight blocks even get crazier. I mean, look at where we're at already. Why not let it just see how it pans out?
Huh. All right. Well, I was expecting more on that one, Justin. I was.
I was a little bit too.
I was a little disappointed on that answer. I thought we would have got the rant on that one. Well, you should be happy if you're gonna make $20 a ball plugging weight holds probably.
No, unfortunately, I'm too nice of a guy for that. I feel bad for them. They didn't know any better.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. I'm not charging them that much.
I'm charging like $5 for a small to medium and $10 for a big one. And if my shop drilled it, we do it for free.
I mean, how much can you really manipulate the drillings now without a weight hole? I mean, you can basically do whatever you want to the ball now, right?
Right, and you get some big. I mean, you can get pretty much to the same reactions you were looking for without it. It's just you're just going to have to learn that the circle where everything was in around the grip is now. I mean, it's what 3-4 inches away. I mean, you just got a lot more play. It's just going to take a little time till somebody figures it out. I mean, we got the physics. Everybody understands the physics. It's just they're going to just keep hunting around until they find ball shape that looks good. Has something that's a little more universal, kind of how when people start figuring out just putting the pin above the finger somewhere and kicking the CG out, it was a standard drill that, worked with the majority of bowlers. They'll find it. It's just now you just got more room to play. So now, it takes longer to find it, but that's it.
So, Justin, you're going to go to the Teen Masters in Virginia next week.
Yeah.
You're only allowed 2 balls there, right?
Correct.
So what are you doing? Are you just one-handing it, or are you doing 1-and-1?
I've got one with a thumb hole and one without one. My plan is going to be the same as last year. Last year I bowled 2-hand on the long and 1-hand on the short, and that's the same intention I have unless when I get down there something changes.
See, now to me, Jugs, I know you hate this, but to me, if somebody can physically do that, why would you restrict them from doing that physically when it's a natural talent? I, to me personally, think it's brilliant that he can go in there with 1 and 2 hands with a game plan and trusted enough to be able to execute it on a whim at a big tournament like that. I think it's impressive. I know it drives you nuts, but it to me, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's just what I believe is the integrity of a bowling swing to be one-handed. We all know what that means because we recognize one-handers versus two-handers. And honestly, like in the skill environment, power really doesn't reward you that much. So I think that if we were still in that era and it was skill bowling all the time, I don't know that two-handed bowling would really gain the popularity that it has now, because it just isn't as dominant. I mean, if it was, then why would he even take a ball with his thumb in it?
Well,
when it does get that advantage, then sure, in that environment, it's not going to dominate nearly as much as when you've got these atomic weight blocks that you can really dictate ball motion by getting the right numbers and matching them up.
Yeah, but see but he's got a way that he can go out there and throw the ball to physically trick himself into having 2 different shapes. One for straighter, I'm assuming that's the one-handed.
Yep.
And the two-handed when he's got to get it to come back a little bit more. It's a different way of being able to manipulate ball shape physically. It's just the way we did it, Chugs. I mean, we had to physically do it within the same rules. Honestly, I didn't know that we could have just told everybody to screw off and go two-handed, because otherwise I probably would have done it a lot earlier. There was an integrity thing. Like if you threw a two-handed, like coaches and everybody would jump on you for doing that. First time I tried to launch the gutter hooking the ball, I was told I was a disgrace to the game. And it's just pushing envelopes and stuff. So, it's just a different way. I think it's awesome that you can go back and forth like that and have enough coordination.
And he's really good at it. So here's another one. So if he's anti the two-hander, like what Justin has in his bag, what about I'm going to call him out on it. What about like what Simonson does, how he backs it up?
Oh, that's a skill. That's a skill.
Well, don't get confused here. I am not anti two-handed. I just don't think it should have ever been legal. My Thursday night bowling team is me and two-handed teenage lefties. I'm not dumb. It's here to stay. I just don't think it should have ever happened.
I think it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the fact that there were 2 bowlers that came out at the same exact time, two-handed, and they were completely 180 degrees from each other on the globe. And that was Belmo and Oscar. And since they were outside the U.S. and probably had a little bit more free reign to be creative with how they threw it, if they had grown up in the States, that thing would have been nipped in the butt early. It would have been nipped in the butt really early. So with them being two-handed and being outside the U.S., I think that gave them a heads up and the ability to go and master that style of game and show it to everybody that it works. I think if he was stuck in the if they were in the U.S., they would have been screwed, and we never would have seen it.
That's interesting.
I really do.
Never thought of it like that, Justin.
Yeah, that's a different way of thinking about it.
I mean, one's from Finland, the other one's from Australia. I mean, and how they were the same age and did everything. It's crazy. That's crazy.
Huh.
Someone should have tied them to the ceiling from their britches and told them to stop it.
Of course.
That's what would have happened to me in my hometown.
Exactly. I would. Same thing would have happened to me too. Absolutely. So but again, I mean, it's just perception and how it came about. I mean, think of the UFO bowlers. You remember those spinners from Taiwan and Southeast Asia?
Oh, the helicopters.
Oh God, I had to go bowl against those guys all the time when I was out there.
Man, when they're hard, you cannot beat them.
When they're easy, they can't touch you. I mean,
really?
So you take your pick on what your poison is. But I tell you what, they will 210 you to death.
Yeah, and that's what we got a real problem with the game. That's what we got a problem with the game today is that we got to make them so hard to get that scoring pace down. But they end up breaking, the lanes end up breaking down also. But they get so hard at that scoring pace, and because they change so fast, it's like if you're hooking it, you're guessing because they're changing so fast and they're so hard that there's no way you could beat that. So if on a regular basis you were bowling on stuff that was really, really hard, and somebody figured out how to Taipei it, they'll kill you.
Oh yeah, they'd absolutely destroy you. I mean, in Taiwan, the reason they learned how to do it that way is because they had wood lanes and never resurfaced them by the time they first opened. And this is mostly in the 50s, I think, when most of those bowling centers opened, and they hadn't resurfaced the lanes.
Oh God.
Yeah. So they learned a way to knock down pins, be accurate, maybe a little more luck involved. But I tell you what, and Chooks will tell you too, the good spinners, oh God, they could play. They could absolutely play, control, carry. And again, great spare shooters. Great spare shooters.
They don't ever miss a spare.
Never. They're all like Walter Ray. They just never miss spares. Yeah. All of them.
Justin, do you see them when you go to Malaysia?
I haven't seen. If I have, I've seen maybe one or two over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore.
No, it was mainly the adults because last year was the first year they didn't run the adult tournament at the same time. It was mainly when the adults came, there were maybe one or two.
Probably my age, if anything. They're probably closer to our age if they were spinning the ball. There's not too many young ones that do it.
Right.
All right. So, Justin, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to skip over the one, but I think we kind of touched on it
Go ahead.
a little bit. So, you guys grew up in the 90s, like in the pinnacle of amateur bowling and team challenges and the rollers and all that when bowling was bowling, right?
Yeah.
So, like, why do you think team challenges stopped? I mean, those tournaments drew so many teams. The side action was incredible. Why did it just stop? I mean, what causes that? Or what do you think caused that?
Hughes, you want to answer that one, or you want me to start this one?
I mean, this is obviously just an opinion, but there's only so many good bowlers out there, and when you get in hometown teams who show up for these team challenges that are 60, 100 miles away from their hometown, they just show up, they want to have a good time, they think they got a good local team, and then you show up and the Nitro R's are there, or the Lens team is there.
Well, they Ordery, which was my team.
All of a sudden, you had a bunch of good bowlers showing up, and the field wasn't very big. So,
but at that time too, I think the scoring paces were so much lower that your good and great players were a lot more close together. And I think even the level before that was close enough. So everybody felt like 6 games. Back then, if you shot 700, that was some shooting. That wasn't average. That was shooting.
That was dollar bills.
It was. That was a lot of money if you shot 7 for sure. I think just the gap in the game. I think the great to goods to decents. I think the gap got too big because of the equipment. And back when the team challenge was in its heyday, Resonant just came out, and all the ball sales broke records in that little 92 to 96 window, I think, with the bowling balls. And so a lot of people were bowling. everybody was liking it, hook, this and that. But again, after a while, I think it just kind of grew old because just people start realizing that the gap is too big.
Yeah, and at that time when a ball came out, it did hook a foot more than the one before.
Oh God, yeah.
So people that were bowling for a long time, still throwing their LT48s, finally realized, oh shit, I got to get one of these new balls because it's hooking a box.
We talked about the Excalibur a couple weeks ago when we had Albie on, and he basically said that ball just hit the lane and it looked like somebody kicked it to the head pin. And guys didn't do when that ball came in.
I got an old roller show, speaking of the amateur tournaments, high roller show where I made finished third, and I'm bowling against Mike Taylor from PA, and he's throwing an Excalibur and I'm throwing a black UDOT, and he's out hooking me by a ton.
Out hooking you?
Oh yeah, so
wait, Mike Taylor, the guy that used the ball on tour, the older guy?
No, not the gentleman from the West Coast, amateur bowler out of Pennsylvania.
Oh, there's two of them. There's the Mike Taylor that used the ball on tour, and now he lives in Philly. He made a couple of shows back in the 80s.
It might be him because
that's what you're talking about.
You know, he throws the rubber ball, and that rubber ball hooks more than anything I've ever seen before.
Yeah, but he threw an Excalibur against me, and I was throwing a black UDOT, and it was you could see a huge difference.
And you were hitting it probably like nobody's business.
I was 18. It was the only thing I knew how to do.
Speaking of rubber balls, I get to go out here and bowl a little bit an hour with an Ebonite Mag 10.
Ooh,
it's so good, Bobby. This ball rolls so good.
You know, I hope that you throw it good too. Trust me, because if you didn't throw it good, it probably wouldn't roll very well.
Actually, it's 7 milliliters, so it's gyro balanced. It's perfect. It just spins the same way the whole way down there. Oh, it's so beautiful and black. Oh, it's beautiful.
Justin, give him the follow-up to the team challenge question. Well, I want to see what they would say on this one.
Okay, so what do you think it would take to get events like the team challenges to make a comeback? And actually, Mike, there was something – I'm going to give an answer to that question because I just read it and I got the idea.
Yeah.
Do you think that making the statement that you made about how the good and greats had so much of a gap because of the bowling balls, do you think seeing a team event similar to the Team Masters where you all got to have the same balls or something like that where they're a little bit more skill playing, do you think the team challenges would come back?
I think it would have a chance.
I think it would too, honestly.
It might take a little while to build, but I couldn't imagine having a big 5-man tournament with unlimited arsenals. I mean, good golly. If you were having a high dollar 5-man event, you can't even move in the settees. There's just bags and triple rollers everywhere. Every ball return is
6 white dots for you, but you know.
You got spare balls underneath every rack. I mean, you can't ever sit in the settees because every settee seat's got another ball in it.
Yeah.
So then what do you think if if I said, okay, I'm going to run a team challenge and you're only allowed to bring like T-zones, white dots, and ices.
Pancake cores and nothing resin or urethane, I think you got a chance. The trick is people get this misconception now. I mean, and Juice will tell you, we never called a plastic ball a spare ball, and you'll never hear us call it a spare ball. But you hear the majority of people now when they talk about getting a plastic ball, it's their spare ball. They don't perceive it in there. So if they throw it as a strike ball, they're worried that it won't hit, won't hook. That creates a problem. I mean, Choose has got a great thing with his skill shots thing, which I have one of his oil patterns that we used, and we had a blast playing third arrow to the gutter with plastic. It was fun because you could just throw this cheap ball and watch it look like a resin ball. But the problem is, again, is you're talking about it. If the majority of people are okay with it, all right. But, you know, a lot of them want to go out there and strike. They don't want to sit there and struggle. And they would actually sacrifice missing the head pin 2 out of 3 shots to know that they're going to strike every time they hit the pocket. So it's, I don't know.
I have to ask how I bowled a couple team challenges at Carolier, and they were impossible. And they would fill the house, 80 lanes at Carolier. They would fill that thing. The side action of those tournaments were unbelievable. I mean, the brackets were just sickening back in the day.
Yeah. I told this story before that me,
we like stories.
Shin Mack, Billy Myers Jr., and Mike Devaney. And this was our team. So Billy Myers Jr. was the PBA Rookie of the Year around that time.
He was a lefty, right?
Yep. Devaney was, I mean, we were all our age, and then Barry was I'd say about 50 or so when we started bowling with him. And so we go into the showboat, and they're running 2 sets, and that was a 70-lane house. And try to make the story short, our team is the only one to break 1,000 every game.
Wow.
5-man team, only team to break 1,000. By the time it was all said and done, Tim held on to the money because he was bigger than all of us, and we all flanked him, got up to the room, and counted out our $85,000 in side action. Yeah.
I got
This.
Wow.
Yep. Had Asher in the back flanking us. Mike and Billy were on the sides, and I was in the front pushing everybody away while Tim was on my butt carrying 3 envelopes of cash on the way up to the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hit the all button there, Justin.
Oh, it was dumb. I mean, like Buddy DeLuca, I think
I know Buddy DeLuca.
Yeah. He told us to come back after the first set was done because he said that we had most of it, and he said instead of just handing cash back over, he just said, "What do you want?" and he'd take it out of it. And we're like, sweet. So we got a little, we're playing on house money. Well, we took the house money and ran with it again, and I mean, it was unbelievable. I think I might have been low or second low during that tournament. I think I was, I don't know, plus 40 on the team.
For 6.
I think Devaney was about even, and the rest of us were about 70, 80 over for it. But at that time, scoring paces weren't out of control. And I mean, we whacked them relative to everybody else.
$80,000 in 6 games is disgusting.
Oh, yeah, it was one day. It was a Saturday. And then we came back Sunday, and everybody's sitting there like, well, you don't want to win because if you win, then you can't bowl any more of the events, which was true. A lot of them did that.
Did they have the member rule back then where you couldn't have like 2 members on the team, right? Like two
you
guys?
could have 2 members. You could have 2 members, and our members were Billy Myers and Mike Devaney. The amateurs were myself, Tim Mack, and Barry Asher.
Nice team.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
What about you, Chugs? I know you've made a couple of those team challenge shows.
I've bowled a couple really fun teams, and I don't have any $85,000 stories, but I do remember a couple $30,000 ones that just coming back to the hotel room and just throwing money up in the air and then counting hundreds later, and just craziness because if you bowled major spares, you just raked in the money. I remember I think it was Indianapolis at Woodland one year. I bowled 570. I think my high game was 2-0 and my low game was maybe 180, and doubled my money in brackets on 570.
Yep.
Wow.
But that was just because back then still a majority of people didn't have the equipment changes. It was a different game, and definitely the oil patterns and how they ran lanes could not keep up with these bowling balls. So scoring pace was lower. It was and that's the biggest thing. I still wish it was that. It was just getting that scoring pace back down. Top ends don't care. Score is relative. We don't care if we're averaging 230 or 205 as long as we're beating everybody else in the field, whatever the score is. I mean, others get too wrapped up into it and can't see past what it's really trying to be.
I like it to be properly difficult. Just basically throwing headhunters, isn't fun for me. But the challenge to where if you execute good shots and you know what the result is going to be or close to it, you at least know where your ball's going to end up. Yeah. That's a good challenge to me. One of the things that hurt the latter parts of my career and even now is my frustration with how fast things change and the fact that I cannot calculate that into a precise move. But because we're playing such a giant range of margin for error and so many optics in the pins that the precision just isn't there. And I've just always been a precise, very, a robotical kind of machinist, even though I'm really a field player. I like that game better of it not changing very fast. And then with these incredible, lane machines we have now, we can control different conditions, pushing people to the first arrow, the second arrow, the third arrow, and giving them variety. So it doesn't have to be the same all the time. I just don't want it to change so fast that in between frames, I'm deciding whether I want to go 4-2 or 6-4 after I just snap the 10 out.
Uh-huh.
And that happens all the time.
And move left.
Yeah. Shoot. I mean, you wiggle a 2 pin, you move 2 in 1 lap.
Of course.
Because it probably burnt up on the way down there. So move left and hook it more. And that's the biggest annoyance in bowling for me right now is how fast everything changes.
All right. So, Justin, we're about 3/4 of the way done. The last 2 we had, they've already answered.
Yeah.
So, I think let's go to the final 10. I think we're going to get some good stuff out of them. So,
All right.
why don't you introduce us and tell how we finish a little Kindle here?
So what we like to do at the end of every show is we go one-on-one with Mike. Well, Mike goes one-on-one with you guys. And basically what we call it is 10 frames of questions, 10 random questions. And we want to know what you guys got.
Anything goes on this stuff.
Anything goes. Okay.
Yeah. All right, Justin, you ready?
Go right ahead.
The first one is one of the staple ones. And they're a little bit older, so they may have a different answer for this one.
Okay.
Best guy on tour that never won a title.
Ooh.
Best bowler?
Best bowler on
All right,
tour
so-
that never won a title.
So we've asked this to basically all of our guests. And what is it, like 10 or 12 people? Justin has said this one guy over and over again.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know who that is, but I've got another guy in mind.
Are you talking only on the current tour?
No,
No.
just in general. And we've asked this to Albee, we asked to Weber, we asked to Parker, and everybody, Doug Kent answered it. Everybody said the same guy.
It's Mike Newman.
No, well, actually, Newman. It is not
Newman
Newman.
was there, but he didn't really take a stab at the PBA too much. Newman was awesome, but
Well, we're going to talk about Newman in a minute too. So
I think you guys probably got more answers with Ronnie Russell, but that's not my answer. My answer is Richard Wolf.
there it is.
Richie Wolf is the answer.
Richie Wolf is the answer.
Get left-handed, threw it amazing. I never could figure out how he didn't win.
Remember when he came out of nowhere, out of retirement, and made the show at the Open at Carolina?
Yeah, when was the last time you bowled? That 4 years ago. Whatever. Strike. Well, I mean, of course it's fun if you're doing that.
Richie Wolf and Brian LeClaire are the 2 big names everybody gives
Oh,
you.
yeah. Leclerc
Brian
was
Leclerc is so good.
good too. Yes.
Did you have another one? Did you have another guy you were thinking of?
My other one was Ronnie Russell.
Ronnie's has he won?
It's just
Right?
Ronnie's won a few times.
Ronnie's won a couple. My bad, Ronnie, if you're listening. My bad.
Lee Vanderhoff. Lee Vanderhoff won a lot of bowling tournaments, not won a PGA Tour tournament.
Vandy.
Yeah, he throws it really good too.
Oh yeah, he threw it really good. Threw it hard, dude, like Greg Thompson. But I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, Richie Wolf is the answer everybody's given so far.
Probably the one. Tell Derek McCall thank you and corrected me on Ronnie. Like I said, I feel like a heel saying he didn't win and he's got 3. My bad.
All right, let's go to 2. Justin, this is another good one. Another one of the staple questions. Favorite and least favorite center to bowl out on tour? And again, one center's always been the bad center, Justin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go favorite first. Fountain Valley, California. Fountain Valley Bowl.
Okay.
All right.
Place
That's a
is
good one.
clean. The acoustics are beautiful, and the weather's always great.
All right. Rob, we got a favorite one?
My favorite one was actually Cowboy.
Oh, the Ace Delco Center.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never been there.
I owned that place for a few years, walking in there, including some tour stops as an amateur. So, yeah, that treated me well.
I've always felt like, and Robert, let me know what you think about this, but I've always felt that Carolier, of course, before the remodel, Woodland Bowl, and Fountain Valley, I always thought were almost 3 of the same bowling centers.
Those are the 3 centers you need the best on. I mean, those are the ones you went to. Carolier, especially. Fountain. I bowled a little earlier because I'm out here on the West Coast. So Cal Bowl was more the mecca there before it went to Fountain. I think when you started coming out. But yeah, Carolier was one of them. I mean, Woodland Bowl in Indy, of course. Yes.
Yeah, they're like the same bowling center.
Justin, what's the answer that everybody hates? The center that everybody hates the bowl at that they've told us.
Woodland.
I was also going to tell you that Woodland is the least liked place that I have bowled at ever. Absolutely.
That's crazy. I love Woodland, and Ron Columbus obviously does too. But I like Woodland Bowl. I don't know why. That's a least favorite.
In that joint. And that's also the infamous place where I was told to stop lofting the ball over the gut.
I was just going to say that Callahan told us that, Justin.
Yeah.
That was the infamous place, unfortunately.
So you gotta tell the story. So you were just lofting the cap and
1998. This was before the new owners, and at that time, I think that was Randy Peterson's last win in Indy. I think it was his last win, but lanes were garbage. It's the only time that I've ever seen the top 24 be minus to make the cut. To make the top 24, it was minus. And they are still at this time not re-oiling every squad. This is still old school way. So what it is they oil in the morning, you bowl 6 on A, 6 on B, come back for your second 6 on A, and then second 6 on B. There's no re-oil, and this is 1998. Resin's been out for 5-6 years. Things are getting stupid. And just to let you know, I start out on B squad. In my first game, I'm in front of the ball return.
Shocking.
18
to go. The lanes are wood with Guardian on the fronts.
So they're automatic friction.
Yeah. It just depends how much automatic friction you want to get to here. This is where the story gets really weird. So as we're bowling, every time I throw the ball past the Guardian, and how far does Guardian go down the lane, Chooks? 15 feet?
18 I've seen it 30.
Are you saying, okay, well, this wasn't the longer one, but this is still past the arrows a little bit.
16 or 18 feet.
Okay. Every time I throw it past it on the fly, launching the gutter, the ball hooks immediately on the lane, and I take 3 on the left.
Jesus.
Wow.
As long as I land it on the Guardian in the corner between 7th arrow and the gutter, I can send as far right as I want, and I got something to play with. At this time, I'm like plus 40. I'm in 10th place, and I get approached by owners, proprietors, whatever, to tell me to stop bowling this way because I'm ruining their lanes. Rudy Revs is right next to me, and he is ready to blow a gasket. It's not even him they're telling to stop doing it. It's me, and he's more pissed off than I am at this. And, so not dropping names or anything.
Yep.
They tell me if I don't stop doing it, they're going to cancel the tournament. And at this time, we're bowling for 14,000 on top at best, and we're folding, TVs going away, this and that, and I don't know what to do, so I say fine. Move to the right, shoot 430 my next 3 games, shoom, drop like a rock. Shoot 430 my next 3. Come back the next day, go plus 70, miss a check by about 15.
Oh, God.
So if I got to stay where I was the previous, the 3 more games, hucking it over the gutter, I might have made finals. I'm not saying I would have won, but I might have made finals or something like that because the lanes were garbage. Even though I had 7 3 counts throwing it over the left gutter.
Jesus.
7-8 because I threw it too far past the Guardian.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, needless to say, Woodland's not my favorite. And it's also one of my favorites because it's a big tournament every year. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, there's my answer. Sorry, Chooks. That was a little long, but
No problem.
another story. Yes. Rudy probably says it better.
We should get Rudy on here, Justin.
We should.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Let's go to the next one. What's the best fry out or flip out you guys have seen on tour?
Walter A. Williams Jr. throwing double ball bags over the racks of cinder block plywood inside a motorhome in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Automatic answer.
Consecutive ones.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Sorry, Walter.
Mine was Nick Melnikoff in Vegas at the showboat. Nick Melnikoff.
That's the one Stewie said.
Yeah, that one was brilliant. He just flat 10 for like the 15th time in 10 frames. I mean, just flat 10. And he finally rings a 10. And he's so pissed. He walks back by the ball return, goes to get a spare ball, and he says no. And he walks up and he squares up the ball return, kicks it, knocks the whole thing flying off. I mean, this is in the middle of qualifying. Goes, grabs the cover, puts the ball return back cover on it, takes about a step and realizes, you know what, I've already done it. Takes 2 steps back, boom, kicks the thing, knocks it off again. That was the best fry, hands down. Melnikoff's for my end. I didn't get a chance to see Walters. That would have been awesome if I saw that. I saw it one time slam a table I watched Parker slam a table one time, and we were floored. Like this. I mean, he was just, and it was like, wow, your dad's pissed.
Justin, I'm going to adjust the questions a little bit, where they kind of touched on a couple of my questions.
Okay.
We want some stories. We love stories, guys. What's the best Mike Newman story you guys have?
Probably I Hate Money.
And Justin, Mike Newman arguably is the greatest amateur bowler to ever live. Arguably.
Okay.
I mean, he won, I think, 4 Eagles in 1 year at the Nationals. Won the roller. I mean, he was the man for a long time.
Newman shot 2 300s at the same tournament in Singapore that was worth $100,000 if you shot 1. He shot 2. And then the following year went back, said, hey, I need my ball back out of your display that I shot 300 with, grabbed it and went out and finished top 3 with that ball again. And then gave it back to him to put back in the display case out there.
That sounds like
That sounds like what Parker did.
Yeah, Dad at the Japan Cup. He won in 98.
Yeah.
Signed the ball, put it in the case, went back the first round, he bowled like absolute crap. Went back up to Kirk at the time and said, hey, can I go get my ball downstairs? Kirk says, I got no issue with that. Took the ball, led qualifying, won the tournament, signed it, put it back in the case.
Yep, I heard that story. That is crazy.
So,
if I remember, it was like a green danger zone or combat
green
zone.
tracer.
Oh, okay.
Shocking. So we don't have any other good Mike Newman story. I mean, he was the man for a long time.
He was awesome. I mean,
he had a good try out at Elwood one time. He had a good try out at it was at the boat. He went like right before the 10 or 11 o'clock sleeper at night. He went walking down the lane, like got down to like 40, 50 feet, whatever. And it was Brad, right? Brad. Yeah. He said, Brad, Blake, you got to come back. He goes, what? I got a wall right here. And he taps the wall on lane 1. He goes, oh, look, I see another one right there. And, of course, the scores were astronomical, and everybody was busted up laughing. And, oh, man, they got in a verbal battle after that that was priceless. And I'd rather not use any of the words that were tossed around in that. But it was
no, I don't have any good Mike Newman stories, unfortunately.
All right, so let's go. All right, so let's try another guy. We want another story, Justin. Another guy that we've talked about, and we've heard a couple stories. Have any good Mike Miller stories? They're both kind of smoking here, Justin. So they got to have something in the.
Oh yeah.
So we've heard 2. The 2 that we've heard is his father told us one of him. Was it in Portland, in the paddock?
Yeah, I think
where it was like
downstairs in the parking lot.
Yeah, with an out. You had like an external paddock. It was out in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whenever somebody would use like a spinner or the stander, the lights in this thing would shut off, and it was black tarps. And every time somebody used it, would shut off. Well, one time, Mike Miller rather, just when the lights came back on, was standing in the corner naked, completely nothing on. Right in the paddock. And then the other one was him bowling, I think it was at Albany, Justin, right? And he was practicing. And Kirk told him he couldn't bowl in jeans or something like that. So he took off his pants and he practiced in his underwear.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
I don't know this story, but I've heard it from my brother-in-law, Shady, who was touring when they were both touring at the same time. And there was a rather large restroom. It may have been Woodland Bowl, I don't know. But the large restroom, and there was a bunch of stalls. And there happened to be one older man in this line of like 8 stalls, right? Maybe the second one from the right, let's say. And he's got his pants around his ankles and peeing. And they walk in, turn the corner, and here's this white ass of some old guy. Oh, Mike kind of walks right up, right to the stall right next to him, and unbuckles, drops him right around his ankle, hands on his hips, and looked at him and, how you doing?
Classy guy.
I wasn't there, but I would have laughed pretty hard.
Oh gosh, this one, friend of mine, Mark Griffith, he went out on tour very quickly, but ended up rooming with Mike Miller. And this was right after 9/11. So the airplane security check-ins have changed a little bit. All your luggage had to go to the front. They would open it up right there in front of everybody to see. Go like this, check through, close it in, put it in, and off you go. Okay, but we had to go through this new luggage check-in thing for a while right after 9/11. So Mark's getting ready to fly back to Sacramento. And Mike's like, all right, I'll take you to the airport, this and that. Well, drops him off. Mark gets his suitcase, goes in to go check in. So he goes in, he's checking in at the front. He sees this lady who's chewing to check in. He thought she was really cute. So he's kind of doing a little short talk, this and that. And she goes, oh, no. Hey, can I look in your suitcase? Did you pack this? And he goes, yeah, go ahead, open it up. Opens it up, and there's nothing but torn out pages of gay porn. Oh, God. His suitcase in the back. This is just,
Oh my!
yeah. That's the one I heard from Mark. And, oh my God,
Sounds like something Schaefer would do.
We're having in the first week of August we're calling story time, and it's going to be Larry Lickstein, Albie's coming back, Charlie Tapp's coming back, Joe Hutchinson. So if you guys would love to pop in and tell stories for a couple hours, that's going to be a good one.
I would love to sit in between Lickstein and Lenny.
Wow. Yeah, Lenny's going to be on the show with us.
I would love to hear the fries on that.
Rob, I'll send you a message when we're off and get you on that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Justin, we're going to add Robert.
You can mute me. Just let me sit around and listen and watch them. That would be hilarious.
The guys back then that got to witness those fries, that was a different society. They got to get away with all kinds of stuff that, man, we'd have been suspended for.
Yes, no name needed to be dropped, but remember in the paddock or the truck at the end of every season there for a couple years, all the lovely posters that were made and pictures of our faces superimposed on them. And
oh man,
oh yes,
they'd have you on CNN so fast now.
We'd be arrested probably.
Justin, I'm going to tell the story. We're going to go off the track for a second. The story that your father told us about the guy in Texas.
Oh, I know what one. I got this.
So Parker,
this is me. This
is all me. Go ahead, Justin.
I got this. So they're bowling in Texas, and at the time, the tournament director at roll call, if you hadn't paid your entry fee to the tournament, you couldn't bowl the tournament. So he goes, "Okay, Joe, I need to see you after practice. Mike, I need to see you after practice." And the list goes on, 3 or 4 people. And he picks out this one guy and says, okay, you need to pay your entry fee. He goes, oh, I left my wallet back at my room. Can I pay you after the squad? He said, no, you have to pay before you bowl. He says, all right, I'll be right back. Goes, gets money, pays him, singles and fives.
Oh, shit.
Doesn't think anything of it. So comes back, middle of game 3 or 4 in the middle of the block. Police show up. And they're talking to the guy, and they're like, and the tournament director comes over and says, what seems to be the issue? He says, oh, we got to take Joe Smith down to the station here. Why? What'd he do? Well, he robbed the local convenience store.
Oh, Jesus.
How do you know it was him? He had on his name shirt on camera when he robbed the convenience store.
Jesus. Oh, no.
No, that's classic.
That is funny. That had to be 80s at that point. I don't know when that was.
We don't know who the guy is, though. Like, I don't think your father remembered who the guy was.
He didn't tell us, but
no. But that's a really good one.
His name shirt on.
Not say at that point.
All right, can we get to the next one here? This should be a good one. I have a different one here. So another one of my questions. So Chu, because I know you did like that big ball draft with Flanagan a couple weeks ago. That was pretty cool. He did the all-time best, right? So you could go to a bowling event, 3 balls in your bag, both of you, Any era, what are they?
I mean, you gonna tell me anything about the playing condition?
And you know what? Just you're going to go bowl a local association event. Local, they're pretty walled up. Let's say a 3-1, 4-1. Nothing too bad. What are you putting in your bag?
At least 20 milliliters on the line.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm under contract.
More difficult than it should have been, Chooks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the V2, the new one. Well, a year old V2. I'd probably go with a GB3 Pearl, and need something on the strong side. I'm either going to go with an Evernight Omni or a Brunswick Prism Hybrid.
Wait a minute now. For somebody that hates resin, your 3 favorite bowling balls are resin?
I did that.
Wait a minute.
The 9B's not in your bag?
Wait a minute. Oh, I was going to go Black Knight, Wine UDOT, and a Black Thunder.
Black Thunder was good.
If we're talking, a little throwback, then it's
I
got to
said
be
any
mine.
era. I said any era.
Oh, any era. I thought you said
Yeah.
any arrow.
No.
Oh, geez.
Any era.
Give me a blue hammer, a Mag 10, and a Turbo X.
I feel better now. I feel better now.
Yeah. Jesus. All right.
Blue
So
hammer, Mag 10, Turbo X.
Turbo X was a good bowling ball too. All right, that was a good bowling ball.
It was the first ball I threw that I left all the even pins with.
4, 6, 8, 10, baby.
You bet. I never left one in my life till resin bowling balls came out. Then it was like, oh my gosh.
All right. So you know what, Justin? I'm going to switch another one then. Who's the one guy on tour that resin really hurt the most?
Ron Palombi Jr.
Fellow Erie guy.
Can I say me? I didn't like resin. It put me in weird angles.
It made you throw the ball over 30 feet over the lane.
The only good thing was I was the only one that could do it at that point, except for Choogs learned how to real quick, and we had some battle royals chucking it over left gutters. Absolute battle royals doing that. But no, her resin probably.
How about this? I'll give you this one.
I would say Pete.
Pete said himself when we had him on Tuesday.
I'd say Weber, because he was just as dominant before it as he was with it.
How about I'll give you this one opinion: Ballard, Palumbi's a good one, or Mark Williams.
Ooh.
Boy, Mark Williams, yeah.
And Mark Williams had great hair too. He had that big. We loved his hair when he had the big hair. We loved that.
Holman, all those guys that had real heavy roll. Those were the ones that seemed, Ballard, Mark Williams. I'd almost say Amleto.
And Leto too, man, he could roll out urethane.
Yeah, he could. He the way he used to roll out resin when we were bowling against him. It was like, how do you have a ball shape like that and make it work? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I would say Amleto even too.
All right, I'm going to go to another staple question, Justin. This one should be a good one. I haven't asked this one in a while.
Okay.
Guys are, back on tour in your heyday, whatever. You guys go to dinner, bunch of guys. Bill comes. There's always that one guy who goes to the bathroom when the bill comes, tries to beat the bill. Who is it?
Brian Voss.
BB.
Oh, that's a different one, Justin.
Okay.
We've never heard Voss before. We've heard one guy in particular all the time. We're a big fan of him.
No name dropping.
Barnes.
I wouldn't say he's not ducking the check per se, but he's probably the last one to grab it.
Barnes and Fagan. Fagan was another one.
Yeah,
Justin, wasn't Fagan another one?
Yeah. So every time you go to split the bill, Fagan would actually split it to the penny.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Well, it's fair at least.
All right.
That's true.
I gotta say BV because we didn't really go out to eat with anybody else. It was just me, Norm, and Brian. So
Yeah.
towards the latter part of Brian's career, he wasn't making much money. so I'm just picking on Brian for being old there.
All right, I got two more, Justin, and then we're going to wrap it up, I think.
All right, go ahead.
If there was one thing you guys wanted to do on tour that you didn't, what was it?
10 titles for me. Pretty simple. 10. I'm in that limbo of one major, 7 titles. I don't qualify for Hall of Fame, so that's probably my biggest regret, not getting to 10.
How about you there, Mr. Machuga?
I wish I would have finished off that ball return.
The what?
Just one of my big slips. No, I'm a little disappointed. I never made the show at a major championship. I got a bunch of 6, even a 5th. But I always had the game that I thought that I would think a lot of people think that I would be a contender in the majors, and I never made a show. So kind of heartbreaker there for me. That's my biggest thing, and I still think I got the game to compete in a couple of them. So
absolutely.
I'm gonna give it a shot at a couple more.
Hey, Justin, I did forget we do have a U.S. Open champion with us tonight.
We do.
You got to ask the question then, Rob. We asked this to all of our U.S. Open champions that join us.
Oh,
Justin.
So, do you ever wear the green jacket like around town?
Me and Butch Soper, who was a U.S. Open champion, after I won there in Phoenix, I went out to Havasu. And we were supposed to wear our green jackets and shorts and flip-flops on a tandem bike and go across the London Bridge in Havasu. Never quite happened, but that was about the closest I've been to wearing it in public. Yes.
Okay. Hey, you at least planned to wear it.
At some point, yeah, we were planning on it, and then I think I had too many beers afterwards, and so did Butch, and then we just kind of said, forget it, we're done.
Yeah, like if you win the Masters in golf, like they always wear the green jacket like somewhere. It's the same thing with bowling. Like,
yeah.
You know. All right, so Justin, this is my last one. And we're going to end this on a serious note. We had some fun, so all serious. Bowling right now, good, bad, or a vulnerable state moving forward? And what's the best way to grow the sport in a positive light?
James, I'll let you go.
Oh, boy. Maybe I should have stuck with the funny stuff, Justin.
I saw the wheels turning there, and it was like, oh, I'm not going to say nothing here.
I have mixed emotions. I mean, we're in dire straits, with a lot of mom and pop centers. We're gonna lose a lot of people just scared to be in this type of environment, indoors, close quarters. We're going to lose a lot of other ones because they took too long of a break and just didn't make it back. So in regards to COVID, boy, if we can come out of COVID with some passionate bowlers, then I think we can be stronger than we were before, but the numbers are going to be way down. So I think the ones that survive through this, the avid bowlers that survive through this, I think have a chance to really be influential. But it's gonna suck because there's gonna be a lot of mom and pop centers that go down, which means you got to travel a lot further to go bowling. And historically speaking, people don't want to drive very far to have to go bowl league. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna be a tough part. But I think because a lot of our type of people in bowling who are the regular league bowlers got hit pretty hard economically through this and still might get it even more. I think we might have a little bit better chance to retain some numbers and bring in some new ones if we offer this game in a cheaper, simpler, easier manner that doesn't require several $200 balls every year just to be able to compete with your peers, let alone to be a tournament bowler. And you really, need 6 or 8 of them with you at all times.
All right, Rob?
I agree with you right there. I mean, growing up with the game, I mean, my equipment arsenal, if you counted bags, shoes, and the 2 bowling balls, 3 bowling balls, it might have got to $300 tops. And that would last for years. So that part is definitely a lot different. I mean, the amount of equipment that is needed to travel. I mean, when I was on tour with you, Chugs, I mean, I carried the least amount of bowling balls that everybody probably. I didn't carry as much as some of the other guys. I know you were well over 20 at some points. Barnes was pushing 40 or 50, I think, at some point.
Jesus.
I mean, to give you an idea where this game is, I mean, so, when you're talking, what's required to get up and level, I mean, to be competitive in this game, I mean, it's expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same.
And it's annoying the number of bags and balls in the for lack of better term, the clusterfuck of the settees and the concourses. It's annoying, and it drives people away because it's really unattractive and it's a pain in the ass.
We've all learned how to walk across bowling ball bags. We've all learned to walk across them like it was, walking on hot lava and stuff and just stepping over. Didn't care anymore.
You're playing Twister.
It was way too many. I mean, it's way too many. That makes it hard. That makes it hard. I think the bowlers growing up, especially you, Justin, on the younger end, I think your understanding of the equipment that is out now versus me and Mike's understanding of it, say 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I think you guys are way beyond us. And if not, definitely have started understanding this before we did. But for me, I think we got to figure out how to get the scores squished back down, get them more relevant to where they're compacted with each other. I mean, I would like to know that if a guy averages over 200, no matter if it's easy or if he's a house bowler or whatever, that's a good player. I don't want to sit there and watch a guy who averages 220 and go, okay, I don't think he's a good player. That's not fair, and that's not where the game is. And I think the scores give a misrepresentation of what's really involved with the game.
And the consumer is really the one who gets kind of conned into believing that he's a good bowler because of that scoring thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
he's the fool being fooled by the foolish.
But don't you look at it like as from a proprietor sense? Like Justin and I, we bowl in the same center. And the place that we bowl at is always, the carry is a little bit harder. They're pretty simple, but the carry is harder. There's not a lot of honor scores that come out of our center. Therefore, a lot of better players in our area don't bowl in that building because you don't see guys averaging 235 or 240.
That's the same with my center versus the others in the county and in the valley.
And the ones that do stick and bowl out of our center get somewhere.
Yes, exactly. But again, it's a business, so some of those proprietors, they will make them easier. I mean, there's a center up in northern Jersey by Carolier. There was a guy for a 5-week stretch who was averaging 280. He bowled 800 every week. He had 3 sets of 840 or higher. But that's what I'm saying. Proprietors kind of make them super walled so they get people going in the door, right? That's what they want to see. It's a business.
Skill bowling doesn't have to be hard. Skill bowling can still be easy. It can still be very easy to get to the pocket. You get that scoring pace. The ones that get to the pocket consistent are still going to be in the 190s and the 2.0s. They don't have to be hard. You get the score; those scores, those people that are down to the 190s and 2.0s that were used to 20 before. The lanes are hard. They're difficult to do that. You can get the scores down without making the lanes difficult by dealing with the bowling ball, and that's a different game. And nobody knows how the public's going to react to that because nobody offers it. And I think that's why the proprietors should be offering skill bowling now more of a time than ever before and promoting it. And go ahead and do it with the recreational oil pattern. But don't allow the reactive bowling balls. Don't allow the big player and weight blocks. And then you're going to be able to use 60, 70, 80% less oil in your lanes. You're not going to have to oil them as often as you did before. There'll be less clutter in your settees, and it's cheaper for your consumer. It's cheaper for the proprietor. It's easier on the proprietor. It's cheaper for the consumer. It's easier on the consumer. This is the best time to do it. So I think it's up to the proprietor.
I think it's bowling pins. I mean, if you're talking about the easiest way to fix this game right now, because the lanes to me are the fairways in golf. They're important because you got to play the fairways correctly, just like a lane condition. But when you're talking about what the goal is in the game, it's to knock the pins down. Make the pins harder to knock down. I don't care how soft you make the lanes. I can control now the entire scoring pace of a field with the pins being heavier, CGs being in a different spot, things like that. With changing the patterns and making them tougher, there's always those few guys that will figure that pattern out and will exploit the carry of the bowling balls and average, 250 for a block, things like that. Me personally, I think you can leave lanes simple, easy, like even the house characteristics show up instead of putting 900 different oil patterns out, and just have the ability to go in and change pins around. Lower centers, heavier pins, even make them lighter if you want to make junior bowlers have a chance with their lighter pound bowling balls. That to me would be able to control scoring pace without infringing upon, making the lanes too tough to where people can't hit the pocket anymore.
Here's one. Twister pins, yay or nay?
Nay. Boo.
Justin?
Boo.
Yeah, I'm in
I
the
think
same.
they were a great concept, but boo. No. No.
We have them at my center. They suck.
Yeah, they're not fun to bowl on, especially if you got a little bit of hand. They're not fun at all.
No.
Didn't they have them at the stadium for a while?
Too long.
Yep.
Too long.
Everybody has them too long.
The only place I know where you go stone nine, half pocket 5-7.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then throw an atomic messenger that doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, and you don't even see it flying across. It's just like these pins are so weird. They bounce so different from one rack to the next.
Justin, one more, and Weber talked about this the other day. Gold pin, yay or nay?
Never got the opportunity.
I liked them. It's a better start in the right direction. I think they just didn't push it enough because all those gold pins were the high end of what the maximum weight is on a regulation pin. 3 pounds, 12 ounces. That's it. That's all they were.
How heavy were they?
3 pounds, 12 ounces. They were 4 ounces higher than what the median or the average weight of a pin was allowed to be. The pins are supposed to be anywhere between 3.6 to 3.12. Most pins come out 3.8. These pins, the gold ones, were probably hand selected from ones that were just heavy batched and said, okay, these are 3 pound, 12 ounces, and those were the ones we ran with. Little bit of difference in carry, but if anything, the pins were better because the pins didn't go flying around as much. They actually stayed on the deck a bit longer. So they were easier to knock down. Most of us thought it. I mean, ask Walter. He tripped every 4-pin on those gold pins. He tripped every 4-pin on those things.
Then why would Walter ever throw a double ball bag if he's tripping the 4, right, Chooks?
Exactly. Well, it's because he didn't do it one time, probably. And then, the world ended.
Well, in defense of Walter Ray that day, there was like 7 or 8 players that all fried within like 45 minutes of each other. And I actually got fined for screaming in my shirt. Somebody thought I screamed like, I don't know, MF or something like that. And I didn't. I actually just grunted. I didn't even, because I saw everybody was getting fined. And anyway, I stoned a 7-9 playing fallback from 6/7 arrow. I needed a mark to make the cut, stoned a 7-9. And then I shot the 7-pin, bounced it out, hit the rake, and would have taken out the 10, but didn't hit the 9. And I missed the finals by less than 10. And then I go in after getting stopped by Kirk for the fine, got my little pig slip, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't even cuss. It wasn't me this time. Oh, but you're going to have to appeal it, blah, blah, blah. And then I go into the locker room outside, which is the trailer, and Walter's chucking 2 ball bags over the railing. It's beautiful.
Justin, I'm good. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, this was a fun time for sure.
And that's what it was a little bit different. We normally talk about careers and whatnot, but I think we got into the game tonight for the first time.
Yeah, this was definitely more of a bowling discussion rather than just one person's career, which was really, really fun to talk about.
Yeah.
One thing with my career I'm proud on is I'm 2-0 against Michael on TV.
I beat Robert Smith playing the 7th arrow in Taylor, Michigan, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Guys,
and then the next week he beat me in Toledo playing the gutter.
Of who went left first. If I moved left, Hughes goes, nah. And he got left of me. Now, next thing, I mean, we're alternating games. It's a best of 7. We're just alternating. And basically, whoever was further left at that moment won the game. Just so happened you were in game 7 and further left than me.
Yep. And then the next week you beat me in Toledo playing the right gutter.
I still have no clue how you beat me doing that. Oh, he left.
What happened to him?
Oh, there he is.
All right. I crossed with Mike at the Open at Carolier. I don't even know what year it was. He led the field. He led qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
And Machuga played, I want to say, 1-2 for 18 games. You had a passion, a paradigm passion.
Listen, the one thing I learned from during practice session, Mike and Norm would be off in their little corner somewhere during practice. And they'd sit there and they'd start snickering and talking about, okay, hey, if I lay it down on 2 board at this angle, does it pick up at the arrows or a little bit past it? And does it check up or does it scoot? And they would sit there for 45 minutes trying to figure out a way to play 2 board off their hand. And if there was a legitimate way to do it, every bowling center they went to, you guys spent forever trying to see if 2 and 3 board had a snip, because if they did, most of us couldn't get to that far right of a laydown point. And it
was shut out if we were out there.
But isn't it true like the machine doesn't touch 1, 2, 3?
Some of
the older machines don't touch 1, 2, 3.
That's why if you see the old cheetah patterns back in the day, I mean, we would throw it into the gutter, and if the ball didn't go in the gutter, it went Brooklyn. The old cheetah patterns. I mean, just the short. I mean, it was unbelievable how many Brooklyns you would throw if you leaked it a little right, or you would throw it in the gutter if it went far right. I mean, they wouldn't. A lot of the machines back then, I mean, most of our stuff we guinea pigs. So it didn't touch the outside boards very much.
Yeah, it depends on topography and it depends on the machine, but most of them don't foil 1 and most of board 2.
Yeah.
And if you're good enough to play 1-2, you can stay out there all day long, but you're having that look across the house when you cross.
Yeah.
If the topography allows for it, if you try to overcome topography out there, you will lose.
Yeah, because if you can't get on the gutter, if the topography's wrong, oh God, that pattern can get ugly from pair to pair. Real ugly from pair to pair.
Good stuff, guys. Justin?
I think we're all done. Guys, 30 seconds. The floor is yours. Well, maybe a minute because both of you are going to get 30 seconds. Mike, you can go ahead and start. Anything you want to say? Anyone you want to say hi to? Anything you want to address?
Well, firstly, thank you guys for having us. Been a blast. I enjoy talking bowling. Secondly, Robert, I miss you, man. We got to hook up soon. We got to play some golf.
A lot out of the state.
Sip down some cervezas, tip into the tone. And, for those out there interested in what we talked about today with skill bowling, you can check out skillbowling.com. Send me an email. It's really a fun game. I'm actually excited to right now go out and throw my Mag 10 in the skill environment to play a game where the oil pattern doesn't change very much. And it's all about shot making. The more you repeat, the more you hit the pockets. You can manipulate those angles to control the scoring phase. And, it's a blast, and I love it.
Real bowling.
Awesome. Now, guys, Mike and Justin, again, thank you. Justin, good to see you again after a long time.
Yeah.
Out there for sure. Biggest thing with enjoy this game. Not everybody's going to be great at it, and that's the whole thing, but we all want to be better. Everybody's got opinions. Me and Mike have differing opinions on what this game should go as and what should be allowed and not allowed. But at the same time, we all love this game. We all want what's best for it. And, and what you guys got going on with your webcasts and stuff, just help out. It's information, and different opinions on how this game could or should be, or, and then again, the stories. I mean, the stories are a blast too. And that's probably the best thing is we all bowled and, had fun competing. But I tell you what, it was the times that, we didn't bowl. I think we had more fun than than any other time.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling Europe was a blur.
I got one more story.
Oh no!
Oh boy!
Yeah, I've been saving this one. Coldwater, Ohio.
Oh, Coldwater.
So we're playing putt-putt outside the bowling center.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And you got to help me out, though. Was it Brandon or was it Justin?
It was Brandon.
It was Brandon. I thought so. So Brandon is messing with me, and of course, you know how Coldwater goes. We're probably throwing down some red solo cups, and we're several rounds in, and Brandon, starts picking on me again. So I pick him up, and I start rocking him like this, kind of pretending like I'm going to throw him into this pond. And as I'm rocking him, he lets go of my arms, goes flying into this pond on a putt-putt golf course. I thought Leslie was going to kill me. Turned out she bought me another beer. Brandon came out, dumped a beer on me, and Parker sat in the distance and just laughed his butt off. So really, really good times in Ohio.
I would not have been there when you tossed him in. That would have been absolutely hilarious.
And it was like 4 feet deep. It was complete.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was a lake. It was more or less a lake than anything.
I'm surprised he hasn't run into the room yet, Justin, to defend himself.
He's around the house doing something.
Good.
All right. On that note, I'm out of here.
Thank you, Jukes. Thank you, guys.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Robert, Mike, thanks a lot. And we will be in touch for story time if you guys want to join us again when we have Lenny Nicholson and Lick and all those guys.
Oh, yeah. Mike, you got my number. Just send me a text whenever you guys are looking for it.
You got it, guys. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Sounds good.
All the best to you guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Justin, that was really good tonight.
Yeah, that was a really fun time talking bowling and all the stories and just like a bowling discussion. It was what this was, and it was an absolutely fantastic time.
Justin, can you just fathom really quick bowling 5-man team tournament?
Yeah,
6 games, and you're pooling all the money for brackets.
Dude,
and you have $85,000 in brackets.
He's telling me like their low man went even, their high man went 80 over for 6. And they had $85,000.
Ask your father about the team challenges. He bowled a couple. I mean, they were the best of the best. Oh, dude, I bowled a couple of those stops, and they were filthy.
Yeah.
But those were good tournaments. So that is a 6 story. And we're going to bring Rob back, I think, when we have story time.
Oh, yeah, we will for sure. So,
and,
Mike,
what are we doing tomorrow?
We are actually
Are we able to announce it?
Yes. So
do it, buddy.
For those of you who have been following Inside Bowling, Mike Flanagan, Mike Shady, and there are a bunch of other people involved who just very recently released Backstage Bowling. And with the O'Keefes as well, Mike Jasnow, Mike Shady, a bunch of coaches who basically online can help you improve your game. So we will be sitting down with Brian O'Keefe, Shannon O'Keefe, and Mike Flanagan tomorrow at 11 a.m. talking and helping you guys understand what Backstage Bowling is. So be sure to tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. And
so we had breakfast with the champ. That was with Troop.
Yep.
We had dinner with the king or dessert with the king. We have with Prather.
Yep.
So I guess we'll do breakfast with the O'Keefes tomorrow.
Breakfast with O'Keefe and Flanagan. We can do that.
Yeah. I mean, the O'Keefes are a little bit higher up the food chain than Flanagan. Yeah. I love Flanagan, but Shannon O'Keefe and Brian O'Keefe they're probably arguably the best husband-wife duo in the country. They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
They're still behind mom and dad.
They are behind mom and dad. They are. Yeah, you have to say that.
Yeah, I do.
Or you're gonna get thrown into a pond.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap this one up. I do want to remind you guys that the 21st Parker Bohn III Junior Scholarship Tournament will run this year, Wednesday to Monday, September 2nd to the 7th at Howell Lanes this year. Be sure to check out the Facebook page, Parker Bohn III Scholarship Tournament, for all the information. Let's wrap this one up. I'm Justin Bohn, my partner Mike Val, and this is the Bohn and Zano Zone, where we're always on the lanes, off the charts, and on the mic. Be sure to check out BuddiesProShop.com and use coupon code ZONE5OFF to save 5% off your next order. See you guys tomorrow morning.
See you guys.